The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone and welcome to the iSpring Solutions webinar. It's very exciting to see all of you guys here today, and I hope you had a wonderful holiday season and are fully recharged for the new successful 2018. I'm super glad to announce that we decided to start the year of 2018 with a special series, and we called it How to Get Your E-Learning Course Off the Ground with iSpring. It contains 4 workshops that cover process of content creation from top to bottom. So since this is a workshop, you are more than welcome to repeat after our presenter. And if you feel you can't keep up, don't worry, I will send the recording of this webinar sometime later. I have also provided you with a sample presentation that we designed exclusively for this workshop series, and you are more than welcome to use it during the session. Also, we highly encourage you to reserve 1 hour of your time for this workshop. And since this is the first time we are conducting an online workshop, we want to make sure you guys have enough time. So my name is Paulina. I'm a community manager at iSpring, and I will be the moderator for this webinar. And at this point, let me please introduce our presenter. Please welcome Sofia Nikolina. Hi, Sofia. How are you doing today?
Hello, Paulina. Thank you for asking. I'm doing fine, and you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking as well. Sophia is our senior technical support engineer, and she's been working in support for a while now, but this is her first workshop for our iSpringers. So I think maybe this time Sophia will require some support from you guys. And during her workshop, Sophia will cover iSpring's content library, what's in it, and how you can use it in your course. She will also teach you how to create a mini game using standard PowerPoint effects like animation. And at the end, she will go over audio and video options in iSpring. And of course, guys, if any questions come up, you are more than welcome to submit them in the question box. You may find it somewhere on the right side of the GoToWebinar panel. And in order to take care of your questions, I have invited our senior tech support engineer, Eugene. Hi, Eugene. Thank you very much for your willingness to help. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Paulina. Hi, everyone. I am really happy to see you all, guys. I hope you will enjoy this webinar.
Yeah, we hope so too. So guys, I think at this point we are ready to begin. So Sophia, let me please pass the presenter rights over to you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Great. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. So first of all, could you please let me know if you can hear and see me okay? And if something goes wrong during the presentation, please let us know in the question box on the right side of the GoToWebinar panel. As Paulina already have mentioned, my name is Sofia and I have been working in support for a while now, but this is my first workshop for iSpringers and I really hope I will do okay. I'm excited to share my knowledge with you and I open to any feedback after the webinar. So today I will be really happy to demonstrate step by step how to use and insert templates and characters from iSpring content library. Especially for you, I will repeat step by step how to create the slide as the second one of this presentation and insert a template, character, and background. I will also teach you how you can create a mini game as on the slides number 7 and 8 using different animation and trigger tricks and hyperlinks to other slides. We will also manage recorded audio narrations and video for the last slides of the presentation. And I will also show you an example how to synchronize your audio file and animations. As an example, we have built a full course called How to Make the Perfect Omelette. By the end of the series, you should be able to create content like this with iSpring. We shared it with you before the webinar. If someone would like to download it, he can do so using the link that Paulina will share it in the chat right now. So to allow you some time to download the course, Paulina, could you please launch the poll question?
Sure. Just one moment, please. All right. Okay. So guys, we would like you to take a moment to vote in our poll question and let us know how you're planning to participate in this webinar. So let us know if you will be repeating what's shown on the screen after Sophia, you will be just watching, or you will need to leave before the end of the webinar, so you would like to review the webinar later. As I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, I will be sending the recording of it sometime later, maybe tomorrow. So you'll be able to take all the steps provided by Sophia during this session and just repeat after her. And at this point, looks like almost everyone has taken the vote. So, okay, let me close the poll and share the results really quickly. So Sophia, it looks like 65% will be just watching the webinar, 23% will be trying to repeat what you are going to show on the screen, and 12% will need to leave before the end. So thank you very much, guys, for taking the time and voting in our poll. And let me hide it and pass the mic back to Sophia so that she can get going.
Thank you very much, Pauline and guys. And okay, great. Looks like we're ready to begin. So I will start with showing you content library. And as you can see, the whole presentation is based on templates and chapters and also includes characters and some objects. All of that you will be able to find in iSpring content library. So let's jump to the iSpring Suite 8 ribbon here and select slide templates in the content library section. Here you can find a huge variety of different templates for all your needs, starting from title slides, chapters, timelines, and info slides, up to summary slides and conclusions. You can arrange these blocks in the order you want and add some text, icons, backgrounds, objects, characters, and images on these templates, then customize their color schemes and fonts to make your course more interactive and attractive. So I will practically duplicate the second slide of this presentation, and now I will insert the Office template by several ways that I can click on the template of the Office and click on Insert to insert it on the slide or into the presentation, or I can also double click on it like this. So now there is a new template into the presentation on the third slide. The next option I will show you is backgrounds options next to characters in the content library section. I will click on backgrounds. So iSpring Suite also has a large collection of about 230 realistic locations, such as airports, streets, classrooms, hospitals, banks, and other places that were taken by our photographers. So I will not insert any pictures from the backgrounds because I have a custom background of the kitchen on the second slide of my presentation that I found on the internet. So I will just copy it by clicking on the Ctrl+C combination on my keyboard and copy it on the third slide of this presentation. And I also have to right click on the my mouse and send it to back of the presentation, and also this picture sent to back of the presentation. And here it is. Plus, you can jazz up your presentation with pictures of gadgets and office supplies over here in the Object section, in the Content Library section. And there are two categories in the Objects window, like office supplies, for example, different pencils, erasers, maybe pens, and also devices like smartphones, laptops, and cameras. I also will not insert any of these objects because we have a kitchen and we just don't need in them. So, and I can also show you the icons section under the backgrounds in the content library section. And you can insert here the navigation elements such as useful icons, buttons, switches, and other ready-made controls by clicking on the icons, as I have already done. And all this content was produced by our professional designers. So I will insert on the third slide of my presentation the navigation button by double clicking on it. So I will delete the preview option because I don't need in it, and transfer the next option to the right corner. So you can also change the color scheme of the next button by choosing the different styles, for example, the yellow style, and also fields and outlines. And now let me continue my demo by showing you the characters in the iSpring content library. So let's add a character in this presentation. So I'm going to the iSpring Suite 8 ribbon and selecting the characters. In our content library, there are more than 30,000 photos of characters of different ages, ethnic groups, and professions, and over 400 photos of each character to create various learning scenarios. You also can narrow down the selection criteria by using some tags on the left part of the window. Now I will show you how to insert a character on the slide. First of all, I need a character that we have been using along the whole presentation. So I need a male character for sure. Then I will choose the casual clothes and the age between 18 and 25. And here he is, Roman. So I also want him to be greeting and smiling. And I go to the emotion section and I'm selecting the smiling, and also I'm going to the action section and I'm choosing the greeting here. So I will insert this picture, for example, by double clicking on it. You can also play around with its size, with the size of this picture, the picture of the character, like that. You can also rotate it in this way to make it look like the pic is on the top of the bottom layer of your slide. Let me show you the slide view like this. And so this looks easy enough, doesn't it? And we also recommend you to stick to the same character throughout your presentation, as we have already done in this presentation. We used only Roman, so your learners can build a rapport with him. I should also mention that you can easily download the pictures of characters by inserting them on your slides and right-clicking on it. You can also right-click on your character and select the Save as Picture option. And after this action, you can select the folder you want and to save it. However, please keep in mind that if you're using iSpring Suite, the number of downloads will be limited to 100 every day, and according to our policy, these pics cannot be sold in any case. So, the second part of my demo, I will devote to creating an interaction like the one on the 8th and 9th slides of this presentation. So I will show you like that. So here you can see a mini game in which you should select the necessary tools and ingredients to cook an omelette. Now let me show you how that works. First, to cook an omelette, we need to select a pan, and after clicking on it, you can see a pop-up window with the successful selection. Then I might try to choose another object on the slide, for example, a mouse here. And after selecting it, the pop-up window says that this choice was incorrect. Now let me continue to choose the items we need, and if we also look at the bottom panel, we see that one of the locks has disappeared after we picked the right tool. So to make the presentation more interactive and in order to go to the next slide, you should get rid of these locks on the bottom panel. Now I will choose also the whisk, the knife, the crater, and the last correct object called bowl. And now you can see a button which says next, and that will take you to the next slide of this presentation. We can easily create this mini game by using a standard PowerPoint effects such as hyperlinks, triggers, and animations. Thanks to iSpring, these effects will be preserved after conversion, so you don't have to worry about it at all. And you can use any effects you like. So now let me show you step by step how you can use these tricks in your own presentations. As you have already understood, all these interactions are performed on the one slide, and now I return back to PowerPoint and go to the 8th slide of my presentation. To show you a huge variety of objects on it, let's do next steps together. I will click the Home tab, and I slowly go to the Drawing section here, and I click on the Arrange. And here is the selection pane. There is a selection pane like that. And there are a huge variety of different objects. And let me also note that I don't need to use all these objects to show you the main idea of how it works. So I'm just going to use one correct and one incorrect object and delete the others. And I should also send these messages as on the 9th slide of my presentation. I should also send these messages, the incorrect message and the correct message, and the transparent layer, like that, to the bottom of the presentation. And I will show you why we need this a little bit later. So I have already prepared the slide for you. And as you can see, this slide consists of the background picture and several highlighted objects like a cat and the bell. I also should delete all animations which aren't associated with any objects. So I will click on the Animations tab, select the Animation pane, and will delete all the unnecessary animations here before all triggers. Like I will select them all by pressing the Shift button on my keyboard. I will select them and delete like that. Speaking of which, I also need to tell you what a trigger is. A trigger is a PPT effect that tells an object to do something at a certain time. For example, there is an object called cat. And if you click on it on the slide, this will trigger the three following animations. The T entrance animations of the correct message, and also of the transparent layer, and the animation of the cat. Now I will delete all these animations in the animation pane of the 9th slide and reproduce them a little bit later for you. I will select them all and will delete like this. Since we have only one correct object, we will leave only one lock on the bottom panel. Let me start from the bells animation. First, you should transfer the correct message to the center of the slide and add the first animation by clicking on the Animations tab. So you should select the correct message, click on the Animations tab, and select Add Animation and select the Fade Entrance animation, like this. After this section, we should add an animation by clicking on the bell, and this is what is called the trigger. To add a trigger, I will go to the Animations ribbon again. Then I'm going to Trigger, unclick Off, and select the object I need right now. In my case, this is the bell. So let's check this. I'm clicking on the bell, and as you can see, the correct message appears right after clicking on this bell. Nevertheless, I also have to block the background to prevent an infinite loop of clicking on the bell, and to do that we need the transparent layer that we transferred to the bottom of the slide a second ago. This layer allows us to see the background with the kitchen, but doesn't allow us to tap other objects. It must appear after clicking on the one of these objects, so I have to make an animation with a T. So I add the fade animation again for this transparent layer. So I'm going to Animations tab. I'm selecting the transparent layer, going to Animations tab, Add Animation, and add the fade animation, and transfer it to the previous animation, like that, to make them play at the same time. Now I set up both of these animations to start with previous. So I will select both of these animations and go to the Start section next to the animation pane here, and we'll select with previous option. And let's check this. And as I have already mentioned, I can't click on the ball once again due to the layer, but we can't return back to the previous state where we can click on something else. So to do that, we will add an additional trigger and exit animations. So I will click on the correct message, add the exit animations. I'm going to Animations tab, add animation, and add the exit animation, fade. Then I will add a trigger, add animate trigger, on click off the previous animations, I mean the correct message. Correct here. And I will also add the fade animation for the transparent layer and select the transparent layer, add the animation of exit like fade, and group both, and then I will transfer the animation of the transparent layer to the button under the correct in the correct trigger, and group both of these animations by the Start with Previous option. Start with Previous. So now let's check this. I click on the bell and the correct message appears. And after clicking on the same message, the transparent layer disappears and we are able to click on other objects. So for example, again on the bell. Okay, so what else can we add besides animations to make a minigame more interactive? The thing is that our ball should disappear after choosing it in order to create the impression that we added it to our inventory. So there are two ways to do this. We can transfer the transparent layer to the bottom once again like this, or we can select the bell in the selection pane here, just clicking on the bell in the selection pane, and we'll create an exit animation for it. So I'm go into Animations ribbon again, add animation, and we'll select the Fade Exit animation. Then I drag it to the bells list of animations, put it in the second spot to make the effect that the bell disappears after clicking on it, and click on Start with Previous. So let's check. I'm clicking on the bell and the bell disappears while the correct message appears. And we can also make an option in which the bell disappears before the message appears. And to do this, I will move this exit animation in the bells list to the top of the bells list here and select the rest of the animations after previous settings. So I will select both of these animations and click on the after previous settings. Also, please make sure that you also customize the last animation of the transparent layer and set the with previous option for it, like this. So for the first animation, there is with previous option, for the second one after previous, and for the third animation, there is with previous option. Now let's see the result. And when I'm clicking on the bell, it disappears before the message appears. Great. So the next step is to make all the animations and triggers for the incorrect answer. Make the transition to the next slide after unlocking the following log on the bottom panel and create the next button after performing all the necessary actions. So let's reproduce practically all the steps once again to make the animations and triggers work for the cats. I will select a cat in the selection pane. We'll click on the cat. Then I will add the exit animation for cat. So I'm going to add animation, exit animation of fade. Then I also click on the cat, and I should also add the entrance animation, add animation, entrance fade animation to show that this object was selected incorrectly. Then I will make a trigger for these two animations. I will select them, go into the trigger on the click of the cat, and set the previous option for these animations. Select them and with previous. Then I will transfer the incorrect message to the correct message to the center of the slide, and will add the entrance animations for the transparent layer and this message. So I will choose the transparent layer and the incorrect message, and I go to add animation and will add the entrance fade animation. Then I will select them once again and drag them to the new trigger with the cat, under the cat here, and I will also make the same settings as for the bell. I mean, you should also set the after previous option for the cat's entrance animation, after previous. Then after previous for the third animation, after previous, and with previous for the fourth animation. So now let's check this. I'm clicking on the cat, and it appears again because this is the incorrect choice and the incorrect message appears on our screen. Great. So now we should do the same exit animations for the incorrect message. We should select the transparent layer and the incorrect message once again, like this, and set the exit animations for them. Add animation, fade exit animations, and also create a trigger for the meow object. So I'm gonna select this object, select these animations, go to the trigger, and click off the meow option. So let's check this again. I'm clicking on the cat. The incorrect message is appearing and disappearing. So, okay, congratulations. I hope it wasn't boring to you, and I know there are a lot of steps to follow, but I suppose it's worth it. So, we have made almost all the animations except for the appearance of the next button and the disappearance of the lock after choosing the correct object. So, what should we do next? We will select a lock. I will select the lock on the bottom panel on the ninth slide of my presentation. And after this, I will add the exit animation for it. So I'm going to go into the animations tab, add animation, and select the exit fade animation. And I will, just a second, please. Add the exit animation for this lock. Just great. And drag this animation to the place between the entrance of the correct message here and the transparent layer, just here, and set the with previous option, with previous. So let's check. I'm clicking on the bell and the lock is disappearing from the bottom panel of the slide. And the last step that we should do is to put the next button up to the lock disappears. I will also show you an interesting trick with a dark rectangle on the next button here. So let me clarify this. If we click on the correct object, in our case this is the bell, the disappearance of the lock on the bottom panel will provoke the disappearance of this dark rectangle from the next button, and due to this it will appear on the slide. So we can conclude that this dark rectangle on the bottom panel blocks the next button, and this prevents learners from proceeding to the next slide of their presentation, and also allow to hide the next button. It's also very important that this dark rectangle closes the next option with the hyperlink completely in order to avoid accidentally redirecting your learner to the next slide and let your user go to the next slide only after choosing all the correct objects on the slide. Let me also mention that this rectangle shouldn't have any hyperlinks or transparent layers that allow you to get to the next slide. Only the next button have these things. I should mention that the order of clicking on the items doesn't affect the result, and in my case I left the one rectangle for our bowl. So to perform this trick, it is very important to have a solid background or a solid bottom panel as we have in this presentation. So now I select this rectangle and I'm going to add the exit animation for it. So go to add animation, exit fade animation. And I will drag this animation to the bell's trigger under the lock exit animation here and set the option with previous between the lock and the transparent layer. Let me preview the slides again. So and I will select the cat, and after the incorrect message appears, I will click on the last correct object. I'm in the bowl, and as you can see, the lock disappeared from the bottom panel and the next button appeared on the right corner of this panel. Let me also tell you some information about the hyperlink on the next button. And actually we have a transparent layer on it with a hyperlink to the next slide. And in our case, to add it to this button, you should right click on it and right click on the next button and then choose the hyperlink option in the drop down list and select a place in the document. In my case, the 10th slide in the presentation, and click on OK. So let's check this. I will view this slide and I'm clicking on the bell. lock disappears and the next button appears and I'm clicking on it, and you and I was transferred to the 10th slide of this presentation. And now we can conclude that thanks to these tricks, your learners have to click on all these objects to go to the next slide of the presentation, and they will read some useful information on the pop-up messages, for example, like that, and can't meet these objects. It's a very convenient way to get the information and share it with your learners, and it is also quite a simple way to create your own mini game. And if you have already viewed this presentation before, you might notice that on the 15th slide, has a similar interactive mini game like this. Everything on the slide was done the same way as the 8th slide, but with different tasks of items in the fridge for making the omelette and a different background. And I really hope you will be motivated to use the same tricks in your own courses or even change something in this course and recreate the same situations.
Okay, Sophia, thank you very much for your presentation on the mini game. And I would like to read a comment from one of our audience. And thank you guys very much for being so active and sending your feedback. And again, this is our first online workshop, so we are learning what's the best way to do it. And thank you very much for your creative idea. But one of the comment is from Sarah. The presenter is talking very quickly. If you are not familiar with animations and triggers, it might have been more helpful to have her build everything from scratch instead of starting from a completed slide deck. And maybe that does make sense. And I would like to ensure you guys that we will definitely improve for our next webinar. And I would like to remind you one more time that we're going to send the recording of this webinar sometime tomorrow, along with the PowerPoint presentation. And also, what some of you have noticed, if you are repeating the steps in the animation pane, there is some words that are not in English. We will also fix this and send you the correct presentation so that you have everything that's clear. And yeah, we will definitely fix all these little things for the next webinars. And also, Sophia, I have a couple of questions before we move on to the next part, since we do have some time for it. Can you explain what all the locks mean at the bottom of the slide?
For sure. So, hello? So, am I understand properly? The user asks, what does mean all this? What does mean all these locks on the bottom panel? Am I correct?
Yes.
Perfect. So these locks on the bottom panel, we need to get rid of these locks on the bottom panel to go to the next slide and to make the next button visible. So, for example, there is the 8th slide of this presentation, and I will transfer these rectangles to the bottom of this presentation to show you in detail. So when we select the correct object on the slide, for example, which is, for example, the bell, and after choosing the bell, one of the lock will disappear from the slide, and this disappearing of the lock will also provoke the disappearing of the dark rectangle. And when we choose all the correct objects on the slides, so all these locks will disappear from the bottom panel as the dark rectangles, and the next button will be visible for you. So it also, these locks block your learner to go to the next slide, I suppose that's all.
Thank you very much, and I hope that answers the question from Sarah. And also, could you please show how to get to the selection pane?
How to get, oh, for sure. So I'm select the Home tab here, and I'm slowly going to Drawing section. There are some icons, for example, or quick styles, and I will get to the Arrange. I'm click on Arrange, and on the bottom of the list, I will click on the Selection pane, just like that. So I will click on it again to make it visible. So the Selection pane. So Home, Arrange, Selection pane, and here it is.
Thank you very much, Sophia. And also, could you please quickly explain what does with previous mean?
With previous, it means this option means that, for example, I will open the animation pane again, and with previous option, for example, here means that this animation will open with the previous animation automatically. You don't need to click on it to click on the slide to show it, or it will be shown automatically with previous animation.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I would like to thank all of you guys, all our attendees. Sophia, you don't see the chat, but all our attendees are being very supportive and just sending in great ideas for the next webinars. And guys, we will definitely try to implement them. But like I said before, this is our first workshop, so I'm really happy that you don't judge us too strictly. And thank you very much, because you are the best way to learn how to better do it for our audience. And I would like to thank you, Sophia, for doing an amazing job for the first workshop. And I think we can continue because we have the very last part. If you guys have another, what do you think, like 15 minutes, Sophia? Yes, she will go over audio and video options. So let's.
So now after these tricks with animations, let's move on to the final part of my demo, which will cover working with the narration editor and also recording audio and video narrations. And so Polina, let's launch the poll to ask the audience some questions.
Sure. Okay, guys. So could you please quickly let us know what media do you usually use in your courses? Is it audio, video, maybe both, or maybe none of that? Maybe you just want to make your presentations and text on the slides, but I'm sure our audience is not that simple and would like to use more sophisticated and engaging and interactive content. So far, I see that majority of our audience are using both audio and video in the presentation. And also, guys, if you could let us know how you prefer to use audio or video. Do you use it across all the slides, or do you use it on just the particular slides? This will help Sophia to emphasize some parts of her presentation. Okay, so at this point, looks like everyone has taken the vote. So let me please close the poll and share the results with you. So Sophia, as you can see, 67% of our audience use both audio and video. However, still 6% don't use any of this media, which I think is very interesting. And maybe today, guys, you can find out how you can better use available media in your courses.
It's okay. Okay, that sounds really great. And may I continue?
Sure, yeah. And we still have some answers coming in, and people are saying that they use audio on all the slides and they want to start using video. And some of them use audio on the majority of the slides. And again, videos are needed. So I think that your next part of the presentation will be very helpful to some of our attendees today.
Thank you very much, Paulina, for this information. And the next top that I want to show you is how to import your own video, as on the 22nd slide of this presentation, and some audio narrations in iSpring Suite 8.7 and manage them in the narration editor. You can use your video lectures to make your courses more engaging, attractive, and easy to understand for your students.
I'm sorry, Sophia, there was some problem. Could you please share your screen again? Okay, great. I can see it.
So I will go to the 22nd slide of my presentation, and as you can see on the screen, there is a small video on the laptop, and this video was inserted to the slides by the option of YouTube. So I'm going to the YouTube option, and in the insert section, I will click on it. Say to download your video to your presentation into your presentation, you must just copy the video link to this video on YouTube, and you can also preview it and then click on OK button. So now I will show you also the narration options on the iSpring Suite 8 ribbon. As you can see, there are 3 options in the narration section: record audio, record video, and manage narration. There are 2 ways to add narration to your presentation: by importing existing audios and videos and recording them right within your PowerPoint. Let me also note that these features are easy to handle and synchronize. If you go to the narration editor, you can easily import your own audio and video files, record your audio and video narrations, and synchronize them, edit some clips, remove noise, preview narrations with animations, and other useful things. So you can also insert your video files and audio files by clicking on the Insert option and selecting video or audio as you want. But I will focus on Insert and Record options of the iSpring Suite. So let me start with recording audio. And I'm just gonna select the 25th slide of my presentation, practically the last slide of my presentation, and I go to the iSpring Suite 8 ribbon and click on the Record Audio in the narration section here. So I click on it, and in the opened window, you can easily choose the slide on which you want to record the audio. In my case, I have already selected the 25th slide of the presentation. You can also customize some options by clicking on Options. And here you can change the slide duration, for example, from 5 up to 10 seconds, and also customize the microphone settings. Choose the microphone you want in the drop-down list and change or adjust the volume settings. You can also set up microphone to make it customized automatically. You can also manage video recording options below, such as the resolution of the video and the choice of webcam. Then, to save all these options, I click on OK. Marking the Show Slide Notes checkbox will help you to save time and allow you to read your script without printing anything or constantly switching to a text editor like Word. Let me also show you the last feature in this window. You can record your audio narration on several slides or only on one slide if you mark process the slide only. I will start the recording by clicking on the red button, and as you can see, there are many options like pause, stop to finish the audio narration, or go to the next slide, for example, next animation in my case. Which works if you didn't. So the option of the going to the next slide here works if you didn't mark process this slide only. And I will make a recording for several slides, for example, so I will leave this option unchecked. Now I'm pausing my narration, and to resume recording, I need to tap the red button once again. To continue recording on the next slide, I click the next animation, and after these actions, I will click on the next slide button, and finally, to finish all these narrations, I should click the stop button. After finishing it, you will see some icons next to the slides with recorded audio narrations in the following drop-down list here, next to 25 and 26 slides. And you can also play them as much as you want, and also go to next slides by clicking on these arrows. To save all the timings, you should click on OK, and then your audio files will appear in the narration editor, which we will check out in a moment. I'm going to the iSpring. For example, I will select the 25th slide of my presentation. I will go to iSpring Sreate ribbon and click Manage Narration. And as you can see, there, on the 25th slide of this presentation, we will find the audio narrations that we just recorded. And I will delete them for further importing of the files. So the next option we will cover is the record video option in the narration section. This option works just like the previous one and have the same settings on the options tab, and you also can start recording or pause it or selecting show slide notes and etc. And because it's very time consuming process, I will miss them. So I will cancel, and to save all the timings in the record video, you should click on OK. Now we will click the Manage Narration button here in the narration section, and let me say a couple of words about the narration editor. The narration editor is a convenient tool to synchronize your presentation with imported or recorded video and audio files and animations. And I want to show you an example. So in order to perform you an example of the 25th slide, I need the audio to appear with the word bubble at the second. And we have already known how to insert animations. I will show you this slide. So I'm going to the 25th slide of my presentation, and there is a slideshow. And we have already now how to insert animations like this. And let's jump to just importing audio file. And I will go to the Manage Narration, and I'm gonna synchronize these slides with animations, with these two animations, and audio files of applause. So I go to the audio in the import section. I click on it, and I will choose this sample audio, and will open it and import it in the narration editor. So here you can see two options. So if I select the first option, the audio files will be inserted at the current cursor position here. And if you have several clips to import, they will be added to the timeline one by one. And if you select the second option, the audio file will be inserted at the beginning of the selected slide. In our case, this is the 25th slide of the presentation. And you can select any slide in the list, and if you need to import multiple audio files, each file will be added to the slides one by one, starting from the selected slide. And the last option, adjust slide duration, is active in this mode. And if this option is selected, the beginning and the end of the audio clip will match up with the slide length. iSpring Suite supports the following audio formats like WAV, MP3, and WMA. As for importing video files, as you can see, just a second, please. Insert some video files. So I haven't got any video samples, unfortunately. So to record video with your web camera in the narration editor, and import it, the video option has the same options as an import audio option, and iSpring Suite supports some video formats like AVI, WMV, MPG, MP4, and MKV. So now I will create a sample for you to show you how to synchronize your audio file, audio sample, with animations on the slide. So I'm going to add audio sample on the 25th slide and click on insert button, and here it is. So I'm going to drag these animations. For example, I will zoom to slide and select the 14th animation and the 16th animation for the second animation of the slide. In order to perform here, I need this audio sample to appear with this bubble at this 16 seconds. So 14 seconds is for appearance, the character on the slide, and the 16th second is for appearing this word bubble. So now I will edit clip. So I'm going to edit clip option in the editing section, and there are seconds. So I need to make silence. Yes, I need to make silence for the first, I suppose for the first 15 seconds. I will select the area by pressing the Shift button on the keyboard like that. This is the 15th second, I suppose, and I'm going to silence the silence option in the editing, and we'll select the silence selection. And as you can see, there is no audio at all. And I also make some trim. So I'm going to get rid of it of extra seconds on the audio. So I'm going to click on trim, and here is the audio sample. I can also want to make the fade effect for the 1 second. I will select this area and I'll click on the fading effect. And also I want to click, I also want to add some fade out effect. So I'm going to select this area, for example, and click on fade out. Great. So to save all this customization, I will click on Save and Close and will return back to iSpring Narration Editor. I'm clicking on it, and here it is, and I'm also can drag this sample wherever I want, and I'm going to, just like this sample, I will drag it here, and I'm going to tap the sync button on the in the timing section, and we'll start a synchronization. So the audio sample, as we have already mentioned, appears during the appearance of the second animation. I can also preview of this timeline with by using the preview with animations option in the preview section. So I'm click on it and I will start preview for the 25th slide of my presentation. I'm click on start preview and sorry, and there is one animation. So now so I think that's all for our first workshop, and I really hope you're not too tired at this point. And if you have about 10 or 15 minutes, we're ready to start a Q&A session.
Thank you very much, Sophia, and thank you very much, guys, for staying with us till the very end of this workshop. Also, I know that iSpringers are the best because you've been sending in such wonderful ideas for our next workshops. And Sophia, again, there have been a lot of comments, very nice comments about the workshop. I'm very happy that you guys really like this format, and I promise that we will try to make it more sort of user-friendly, if I can say so. And yes, we do have a couple of questions. So yes, Sophia, are all PowerPoint effects HTML5 compliant after SCORM packaging the content?
Yes, for sure. I suppose nearly 99% of all the PowerPoint effects, for example, for animations, are compatible with after publication the output formats like HTML5 or SCORM course.
Thank you very much. And there was one comment from Mark. Well done, thanks. Please keep telling us what is iSpring and not native PowerPoint. I think that a lot of our today's attendees will find the ways and how to make interactive PowerPoint games helpful because they've been using PowerPoint a lot. Some of them already know what PowerPoint is all about, and I would like to announce that our next webinar will be dedicated to tests, quizzes, and branching throughout the Quizmaker and throughout the whole presentation. And Eugene will be the expert for this presentation. The third workshop will be dedicated to Talk Master and dialogue simulations. Sophia will be talking about creating dialogue simulations and also publishing the ready content. And also the last webinar will be dedicated to iSpring Learn LMS. And the presenter for this webinar will be Eugene. I will be sending the email invitation, so guys, don't worry. You will have all the information and sign up links available. Okay, so let's get down to some other questions that we have. Let me just quickly try to read them because there are lots of them. And if you guys have any other comments that you would like to share with us, this is the great opportunity for you to do so. Okay. Another question from Katie. Does iSpring work within Moodle LMS?
Yes, for sure. iSpring also works with a lot of LMSs, as I know, not only the Moodle, but the others one. And it's really great work. This our iSpring product really great works with Moodle LMS.
Thank you very much, Sophia. There is a comment from Paula. This webinar overview was great, but for reinforcement, the PDF would be wonderful, meaning that PDF that contains step-by-step guide, which I think is a great idea.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, and so yeah, while we are still here, let me really quickly share the link for the next webinar. It will be workshop number 2, create engaging quizzes with which respond to learners' choice choices, meaning that we will also cover the branching within quizzes and also the presentation itself, the course, I mean. So I'm sending the link in the chat right now, so you guys are more than welcome to use it to sign up for the next webinar. It will be held on next Tuesday, January 16th at the same time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, United States. And then I will be sending the invites sometime later this week. Okay. And there is a question from Sharon. Can you use applications such as Powtoon? I have not heard about it. Maybe you, Sophia, or Eugene have heard about it. Powtoon.
I'm really sorry, but I have never heard about this application.
So do I, maybe you can send a request to our support mail and we can help you out with it.
Sure. And Rachel says, to follow up Katie's Moodle question, does it work well with Blue Sky? Do you guys know?
Really sorry, but no, but you can leave us your contacts, for example, email or phone number, and we will definitely reach out to you as soon as possible.
Yes, and also I didn't hear, but did you mention, Sophia, that there is a dedicated page on our website that shows the compatible the LMS is compatible with iSpring?
No.
Could you please quickly show where our attendees can find it on our website
Sure.
while your screen is still shared?
Just a second, please. And
And while you're looking for it, there is Eugene, there is a question from Colleen. Did you answer the question about typing within the course? She was asking if it's possible to type within the course not using Quizmaker.
Oh, yeah, sure. So you can perform this option, I mean, type in directly in the presentation. However, unfortunately, it will not work after conversion to HTML5 and Flash. So this is it. So of course you can put a box, let type in, but it will work only in PowerPoint file.
Or maybe if you're too the sophisticated way maybe would be if there is a type-in box on some website, you could insert it in your presentation using the web object, but I think that's just way overloaded.
Yeah. Of course, if you use iSpring Suite, you have a Quizmaker, and of course it's quite easy to create a type-in question. So I think it's much easier to perform.
Yeah, thank you. And there's a question from Julie. iSpring has their own LMS. Yes, Julie, there is an iSpring LMS that's called iSpring Learn, and we will have a dedicated workshop about it. It will be held on January 30th, and it will be held by Eugene. He will be talking about publishing of the pre-made content to iSpring Learn. He will be talking about LMS. And if you have any questions about it, you are always welcome to send them to support@ispringsolutions.com, and our managers, specialists, will be happy to address them.
And concerning the previous question, I have also found some information, a huge list of supported LMSs with iSpring toolkit. So, for example, iSpring support the following LMS like Accord LMS, Courseplay, then Genio, Education Folder, Informatica, and other top LMSs.
Thank you very much. So you guys are more than welcome to. So is there Blue Sky LMS in there?
Just a second. Blue Sky.
I think it's one word.
No matches fonts, I suppose. Or maybe that. No. No matches font.
Okay, well, if it's not there, you're always welcome to submit, to fill out this form that you see under this field. If you didn't find the LMS of your choice, and our dedicated manager will definitely test it out. All right, so I think we're way over time for today's webinar. And okay, so let me check if there are any other questions that we can really quickly take care of. All right. So yeah, so basically these are your comments. I mean, as far as I can see, there are too many of them coming in. Thank you very much, guys, for being so responsive today. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Sophia, for a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much, Eugene, for taking care of the question. Thanks to all of you guys for today's workshop, for making it happen.
Thank you all guys for your support and great comments in the chat. And I really appreciate it and enjoyed answering your questions.
All right, so at this point, we will be finishing the webinar, and we will see you next week at our next webinar about quizzes and branching. It will be held again on January 16th. It will be Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, United States, and I shared, you may find the link to it in the chat box. All right, so we will go and try to fix and implement all the comments that you sent, and we will try to do the best that we can. But of course, if we're talking about any additional files like PDFs and stuff like that, that takes more time to prepare, we will definitely do it in the future, but we are not promising it for the next workshops. However, we will definitely load the speed of our presenter. Did you hear that, Eugene? You will have to make sure that people are able to keep up with your presenting.
Of course, I will try my best to make everything clear and sounds good. Thank you for your
Okay.
comments.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys, we hope that you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week. So bye-bye, everyone.
Goodbye.